Welcome back, Raccoon Players. This is Meriesa, and if you're looking to create really cool rooms or inventions with your friends, you're going to need to learn all the tools of the Maker Pen. This video is just to help you get started and give you a basic understanding of these tools. But first, we're going to need our Maker Pen. We can find our Maker Pen in our backpack by opening up our watch and then going to our backpack. Press Use on your Maker Pen. Here is your Maker Pen. Just pull up your Maker Pen menu. Here is your Maker Pen menu. This is where you can open up your palette to give you more options. This is where you can toggle off or on your grid. You can also toggle on World Space Grid, which gives you a little more control over your objects. You can see circuit visibility, or you can deselect that. And here is all your modes. These are a lot of the tools that you're going to be using consistently while you're going to create. Let's go ahead and check out our palette. So this is your Maker Pen palette. This is where you can find all of your shapes, your materials, and your colors. And this is where you can find all your gadgets. We won't be going over gadgets in this tutorial, but if you would like to learn more about these, just check in the description below. Here are all your props. You can use these props in your games or just, as a decorative element. Here's all your inventions. You can also get inventions from the store by pressing this button here. You can also search for everything in your palette by just searching for whatever you need that's in your palette through here. And the gear symbol is where all your settings are. This is going to be your best friend once you start creating more. There are many options here that will help you have more control over your shapes. If something is just not working out, always check your settings. This is where you can find all of your snap settings. Everyone has different preferences, and the defaults are usually good for new creators. But feel free to play around and find out what works for you. If you find that your snap settings are grayed out, you can turn them back on by toggling on snap on your Maker Pen menu. As you can see here, if I toggle off, they're grayed out. If I toggle on, they're back on. And below here, you can play your gizmos or delete everything or reset gadgets. And these gadgets usually have to do with circuitry, but we won't be going over that in this video. And on the second page, you can find all of your tube settings here. And you can find other options as well. Just take a look and see what works for you. Now that we have reviewed that, let's start creating. Let's say we want to create a small little table, and we want to put it over there. We can do that by opening up our Maker Pen menu here, and then grabbing a shape. Let's go ahead and open up our Maker Pen palette there, and then select Cube. Let's select a material, and a color. I'm going to go ahead and draw this shape now. There we go. Alright, now that I've drawn this shape, this is the shape that I have. One little problem. I want to move this cube over there. Well, I can do that by selecting the Move tool here, and then selecting on the object. You notice I'll get a couple of these options here. I can move it with the arrows here. I can move it with the boxes. Or I can click off of it and move it over here. That's about where I want it. However, it's not really aligning to the room. Well, I can change that by opening up my Maker Pen menu here and then toggling to the grid. I'm going to go ahead to World Space. This is going to allow me to align the object to the space of the room. So I'm going to go ahead and select Move and move it back into place. And you notice how it snaps right back into place. Pretty great, huh? So now that I have my object in the place that I would like it to be, I can rotate my object as well. I can go ahead and open up my Maker Pen menu here, and then select Rotate, and then select on the object. You notice that these rings pop up. You can hover over these rings and drag it in those locations. You can also tap the ring and it will flip it. Pretty cool, right? However, it's not really looking like a table yet, and we kind of want it to be a little bit thinner, and we can do that by scaling it. Let's go ahead and open up our Maker Pen menu here, and then select Scale. When you're in the group of the object, you can select Scale, and you can actually scale it by grabbing these handles over here, and scale it to be a thinner piece. I can also adjust these as well. When you hover over the center, you can scale it uniformly. Pretty neat, right? Now that I have the top of my table, I kind of need to make the legs. I can either redraw the legs, or I can just clone this object and adjust that shape accordingly. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Maker Pen menu here, and then clone this shape. You notice when you press clone, you can see these little add symbols and flip tools. This will clone and flip, and this will add another object. But we can go ahead and add another shape by selecting this add symbol, and we get another shape along with that. Let's go back to the scale tool here by selecting scale and then hovering over the handle here and scaling down. There we go. That looks about right. Great. And then scale this all the way down. That looks great. Alright, so now that I have my leg, I need another leg over here. And I can do that by just cloning this leg. I can do that by opening up my Maker Pen menu here and then selecting clone, adding another shape, and moving it with the arrows here. Just about there. Now that I have two legs here, I kind of need two legs here. And I can actually select both of these and clone them at the same time. I can do that by opening up my Maker Pen menu here and then selecting the select button and select both of these. Now that I have both of these selected, I can go ahead and clone both of them by pressing the clone on my Maker Pen menu and then selecting the plus symbol here. That's great. I'm going to go back and moving these into this direction by pressing move on my Maker Pen menu and then selecting the arrow and moving it back. There we go. Now I've got kind of a good looking table here so far. I'm going to make a little bit more adjustments. I'm going to go ahead and reclone this shape down below by selecting, cloning, and moving it with my move tool. Boom. That looks pretty great. Now it's looking more like a table, but now I kind of want to change the top part of the table just to give it a little more of a top. I can do that by opening up my Maker Pen menu here and then selecting recolor. I'm going to go ahead and select a material, do a middle one, and a black color. Boom. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and press done on my Maker Pen, done editing, and there we go. When you press done on your Maker Pen, it puts it in a group. Now, I can go ahead and move that group. I can go ahead and scale that group. You can only scale uniformly when you're out of its own group. I can go back into the group by selecting edit and selecting the shape, and I'm back into the group and I can change its colors and anything that I want in the group. I can also select an object and remove it from its group by selecting the select button, select the object I no longer want to be a part of this group, and then select the three little dots and split shape. You notice I can't actually interact with this shape because it's no longer a part of this group. I can go ahead and press done on my Maker Pen, or I can drop my Maker Pen to get out of the group that I was already in. Now if I want to re-merge these shapes together to put them in the same group, I can select both these objects and hover over the three little dots and merge the shapes. So now they're part of the same group. Now let's say I wanted to clone the shape. I can go ahead and clone and flip, and it gets a different orientation of the object. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Now that I have my table created, let's go ahead and adjust the properties. So we can do that by opening up our Maker Pen menu here and then selecting configure and then pointing at our object, and then we get these options. We can make it decoration where players can walk through, environment where players cannot walk through them, physical where players can pick it up and throw it around, or sticky where it actually sticks to players. You can also give objects a respawn. Let's say a player grabbed this table here and moved it across the room. We can say, hey, this table needs to respawn back to its location, or a gun, for example, if you put a prop gun in your room and you want it to respawn back to its previous location, you can go ahead and select respawn and give it how many seconds you would like it to respawn back to its previous location. You have several other options here you can go through. Taking a look at the Maker Pen menu again, you can actually freeze your object if you wanted to, so you don't have to have players pick it up if you don't want them to. You can always freeze your object. You can also delete your object. Well, it's gone now. Well, we can always delete that, that's great. You can also scale your object by using the manipulate tool, they're very similar. Press done editing, and if you'd like to make this as an invention, you can go ahead and select make invention, select the object that you would like to make an invention, and give it a name, give it a description, and save it as an invention. So that will be it for this tutorial. We do have the wire tool. We're not going to go over it in this tutorial, but if you'd like to touch up on gadgets, you can go ahead and check out in the description below. Not only can you save your creation as an invention, but you can also save your room, and you can do that by opening up your watch and then going to this room and then selecting save. I hope you found this video very helpful. This is a beginner's tutorial for how to use the maker pen. If you'd like to learn more, please go to recroom.com/creative to learn all medium to advanced creations. Meanwhile, I hope to see you in Rec Room. Remember, be creative and give it your Rec Room best. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe.